despite it all, I am a good person. I don't need to prove that.
Before you get into the video, we just wanted to say that these questions are supposed to be just a little personal and just for us to kind of just express ourselves, expose ourselves, which is why, as in the video, you'll see us take pieces of clothing off throughout it, and it's, don't worry, don't be...
We do not strip all the way.
We don't strip all the way. On. Yeah, we have clothing on. I just kind of wanted to give that as a disclaimer, just so like if you're watching, you're like, what's going on? It's truly for us to, each question that we talk about, we're exposing ourselves. We're being more vulnerable to like the camera.
So, hello. Hi.
How you doing?
Doing good.
How you feeling?
Sensitive.
Sensitive. Oh. We're getting ready for that.
I'm Crysti and I.
Hey, I'm Lorena Rodriguez.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, what is mental health to you?
Mental health to me is problematic.
Problematic?
Yes. It's been a very problematic thing in my life for all of my life. I used to reject it. My parents rejected it until I tried to find myself more and found out what mental health really is and how it shapes the person you are, and I'll just live with it.
Yeah. Honestly, same. I feel like mental health has been the big part of my life, only because of how sensitive I am as a person, and it also just it shapes the person that I am. It really does, because I think when I try to get into the idea of mental health, it hits me a lot harder than most people, and I don't think it's something bad, but it's just like, no, that's what mental health is. It's very different for every person. What does it mean to you to come out of your comfort zone?
My comfort zone. It means a lot for me to come out of my comfort zone. I'm a very introverted person, so coming out of my comfort zone is very difficult for me to do. Usually that would mean that I'm going to a new place that I'm not familiar with, I'm doing a task that I'm not familiar with, or just doing it by myself for the first time. But yeah, it's putting myself out there, and that's really difficult for me.
Yeah, honestly. I feel like I'm a person that gets used to things very easily, and I think most of it is just like being like attached to something for too long, and so people are just like, you need to get out of your comfort zone if you wanna keep going ahead, and I'm like, I kinda like what I'm doing right now. But what it really means to me is I could say like this year, just going out, seeing new people, or just like meeting new people. I'm not seeing anyone. I don't want to. But it really is just coming out of something that you're not used to every single day. Like, I used to never be a people person. Now I'm just like, I just want to talk to everyone. I just want to say, hey, how you doing? Get close, I guess. So, do you think how you present yourself is your true self?
No. Not in the slightest. Not to people I've just met. To you, yes. Like, I don't even think you know the full me either. Like, I am. Oof. The way I present myself is very. The way I come off, because I don't usually try to present myself with this. It's just the way I come off. I come off as very quiet, reserved, shy, and when you get to know me, I'm not that. And I'm actually, I do still have my quiet moments, but for the most part, I am very talkative. I like hanging out with people, and I'm chaotic. There's a certain word. I'm very weird. I've been called that a lot. Not in a bad way. It's just I have a lot of like weird tendencies that I do. And I think that comes with mental health, honestly. I think that's a little ADHD.
Honestly, I do get that. I feel like a lot of times people like personas. I feel like everyone has different types of personas where it's like how you act with your friends and how you act with a stranger and how you act like it is very different. I feel like I present myself very different in each setting. I feel like 100% I do want to like be myself, but the most things that I hide is my like sensitivity, is my emotions. Nowadays I'm not trying to hide it as much because I'm not trying to hide it as like, oh my god, like if this happens, that's gonna happen. Like my sensitivity is a gift, really. But honestly, the way that I present myself is just really just trying to like get by, because like if one wrong move and I'm like, let me go somewhere else. Let me do something else. Like I don't know how to present myself. I feel like I'm an outgoing person, but I'm just always.
You're very outgoing.
I'm always on my toes. I'm just
You
like,
are.
like let's smile, let's wave, let's say hi, let's be this bright person, but also don't show too much of yourself because they might not like you.
Oh my gosh. I'm just introverted and I can't show that. I'm scared to.
Do you think people understand you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm not very opinionated. I kind of just go with people. Most of the time, I do have my own opinions, and if I feel strongly about them, I will present them. But for the most part, I kind of just go with what people say. So yeah, people understanding me doesn't come difficult. It's not difficult for that to happen. It's just I need to make sure that I present myself in a way that they are able to understand me, because I also do have a speech impediment. So sometimes people can't understand that. Or can't understand me because of that. But for the most part, yes, people do understand me, I think. Not my dad, though.
We're not gonna. That topic. I generally feel like a lot of the times I am understood by certain people, but because most of their beliefs are bigger than mine, it's really hard to. Because like as a person who is also opinionated, I'm not going to like downplay your opinions. Like if we have a different view, then that's totally fine. We could still hang out, chill, and do what we gotta do. Growing up with your sensitivity, what was it like in your family?
In my family, well, when I was growing up, or when I was really young, my dad told me I couldn't cry. That's okay, but there's a reason behind that. I had heart murmurs.
Okay.
And if I cried enough, or if I like exhausted too much breath, I probably could have died. So he told me not to do that.
Okay.
But he also told me later on to not cry because it makes me vulnerable. So
yeah.
I took that to heart, and I really tried not to let anybody see me cry ever. And even if I did feel like I was on the brink of tears, like I would just like make sure that I cover my face and everything, because I didn't want anybody seeing the upset of me. So I didn't really get that sensitive side. Like I wasn't able to express that when I was younger. But now it's something very prominent, and I am exploring it, and I'm being okay with it, especially because my parents never really let me do that. They, like I said, they rejected that from me.
A lot of times in my household specifically, my sensitivity was looked down on, and it was looked down on in a sense where it's like if I were to cry, it's just like, ugh, she's crying, or like if like I get super emotional about something where it's like where I get like upset, because I used to be a very upset individual, and not anymore, but like I used to get really mad growing up, and that was seen as just like, why are you giving us attitude, why are you doing it, why are you doing that, instead of being like, what is wrong, why are you mad, what's making you feel this way. It was just like, stop it. Like you're Lorena, she's just emotional. Why would you say that about me?
You're a Leo.
Oh my god. Don't let me start on people who say that to me. But yeah, it's just that, just having like that unemotional like support. Like I just did not have support at all, and it caused a lot of issues. So, were you ever aware of your family's issue, or like just parents' issues?
I feel like I was always somewhat aware of them, but I wasn't actually told about them until I was in middle school, I think. My parents told me, like, they had a brief explanation with me, just saying that they were thinking about getting a divorce, but they never went through with it, not for another like few years. But that was in high school, and like they went into high school, they were still together. We got a house for whatever reason, and I just thought they fixed their issues, but then I slowly started realizing the little things that they both stopped doing.
Yeah.
And I realized that they stopped talking to each other and everything. And so I was able to comfort myself and tell that it was going to happen before they even told me. Yeah. So yes, I was aware of the things that were going on. I
was aware at a very later time. This ties into like my sensitivity, where people never wanted to tell me what was going on because they think I would react in a very sensitive way. So my two sisters, who are more closer with each other than I am closer with them, knows everything ahead of time than me. So like I didn't know like any of my family's issues. I think my family always took it as just like a type of joke. Like it was just like, oh, this happened, ha ha ha. Like it's so funny, even though like no, it shouldn't be taken as a joke. That's a very serious topic. Yeah. And the fact that they laughed it off was just like, why are you doing that? So like it was very later until like high school and college where I started to know what like my mom like truly went through. And even when I was a young age, I didn't really want to deal with my family as much. It's not that I hated them, I think it was just more so the fact that I couldn't connect with them. And I mean, like, I still can't connect with them, and it's not something that's to be like upset about. Like,
I feel like you're overly sensitive and I'm undersensitive because I try my hardest not to feel anything. Like I try so hard to just prepare myself so I don't need to feel those emotions. Yeah. Like I will put myself like in my obviously in my headspace, but I will put myself in the worst possible position I can be in just so I can practice, just so I can know what to do if that was to happen and I wouldn't be disappointed. Which I think is just really funny how it's very polar opposites from one another.
Do you think adults have a harder time with mental health?
Oh, for sure. Not in terms of like they have worse mental health than us, because I do genuinely think that our generation is like the most effed up. But they do have their problems. They do have their issues. The only thing is that most of them aren't inclined to go to therapy, whereas we are very open about going to therapy. We actually get the help that we need. Like my dad, I told him multiple times, like I told him I want to go to therapy. I said, you should go to therapy. That would be so helpful for you. And he's like, no, I don't go to therapy. That's not for me. I don't believe in losers. I don't believe in it. Yeah, exactly. I just feel like there's a huge stigma against it for their generation.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I feel like the same. Like it is really hard to get into just mental health in general because like it was never taught. Half of the time is like people who have like street smarts are the most of people who just don't have mental health at all. Where it's like you can't be sad on the street. If I let depression be my whole life, I don't think I would be where I am right now. Like I think I would still just like be lost. Why do you think people with ADHD or just like ADHD, like autism, just like are seen as like rude or like different?
I can speak on that. I think it's just because of the way that one, media portrays them, and two, the way that they might portray themselves. Like they aren't in tune or as in tune as most people. They don't have that social awareness that others do. and I feel like that can make them come off as weird or rude or creepy.
Yeah.
And that's not really what they mean to do. It's just how they function. They genuinely cannot do anything about that. Does it excuse all behavior? No, definitely not. But it is mainly because of media, I would say. But as somebody with ADHD, at least ADHD, like, I'm weird. Like I said, I've been called weird before.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
I mean, as someone who's just, like I said, I'm just like discovering a lot about myself. And as someone who has like just been discovering on just being that spectrum of like autism, but really showing more traits of it nowadays, it's like a lot of times, like if I am zoning out, or like if I am being like nonverbal, as like that's what, you know, some people do, it is like seen as like kind of like, oh, why is she being quiet now? Like, oh, it seems like you're down. Or like, no, I just couldn't talk. I couldn't talk in that moment. So I had to put my earbuds in and just kind of like chill out. And it's like, it is in human nature to always ask people like, oh, are you okay and stuff, but it makes me feel so out of place, where it's like, me being quiet doesn't equal me being sad unless I say something, where it's like, oh yeah, I was a little bit sad, but like I'm okay now. Like it's just like, people are going to assume, and that's just human. This is human instincts. It's human nature. And I'm really, I'm not really trying to be like a hypocrite and stuff, but like, you don't have to understand it, but when it's being told to you, I hope that you have like a different view about it. Because like, if you're seeing someone being like, oh, they're being nonverbal, and then you see them smile at someone, oh, they're not being like they're just probably just doing their own thing. They're not actually sad. They're just being like more observant of that, which still I can't be observant at all. Like I'm bouncing off right now. Are you hard on yourself?
I think I should be harder on myself. But no, I don't think I'm very. It depends on what I'm being harder on myself. Is with schoolwork, no. I definitely need to be more on top of myself for that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like myself, yes, I am very hard on myself. I try so hard to just fully grasp myself and who I am and why I do the things I do.
Yeah.
And just I try to be the best person I can be.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, throughout this whole video, I think I was a little bit hard on myself. Where it's like when I was talking about my family, and then I'm like, oh, am I a hypocrite for saying like because I reject my family's feelings, and then not being able to accept the fact that other people are rejecting me? Like, does that make me a hypocrite?
No, I don't think so.
That's where I'm hard on myself, because it's like I understand a lot of what I'm saying, but it's also like, when I say one thing, sometimes I just mean the complete opposite, or it just means something very different. And it's just like, I don't know what exactly to do, because I could be emotionally intelligent, just advice giving, but also I'm like just really hard on myself for just overthinking and being like family is very different than friendships, obviously, because family, you've grown up with them, they've seen your raw emotions, versus like friendships where they're learning to get to know you. So it's like, us, like, for example, is like, because we've known each other for a year now and we're still getting to know each other, it's like, do you want to see me with like more of like raw emotions? Like, are you ready to take that next step in our relationship?
In our friendship. Only if you put a ring on it.
No, but like, that's just like, I feel like, I think I just like had a realization where it's like, I'm not being a hypocrite. Like, family is so different than like other friendships and relationships, where it's just like, this is just like, yeah, like, that I'm hard on myself. Yeah, I think that's like the overall thing, where it's like, I love having friendships, but they don't stay long enough, because right when I show too much of myself, they're like, oh. That kind of scared me. Anywhere else I could go?
And I feel like that just is because those people also aren't in tune with their sensitivity.
Yeah.
They can't grasp how sensitive you are. They can't handle that. And that's just, I feel like that's just because you guys are on a very different emotional level.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
In your personal life, what has happened that can cause like a trigger? Like what is, well, you don't have to like be like fully think about it, but it's just more so like, what is one thing that could just trigger you just anytime?
Oh, jeez.
Just
I have a lot of triggers. I think it's lying. Lying. Definitely lying. Or people downplaying how smart I am. I think it's that actually. People downplaying how smart I am and thinking less of me, thinking I don't know things when I actually do, because I do my research. I'm on top of stuff and I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so something that triggers me is when somebody lies to me,
Yeah.
like straight to my face, even though I know the truth, or they don't like they downplay who I am and what I can do.
I have a lot of triggers as well, but I think the biggest one is if I found out that somebody was talking behind my back. That is where I kind of get like a, like, do you like me now? Like, are we like okay? Because like, and it's like, it's very like different. Like if you were just talking about me just to talk about me, then that's fine. But if you're talking because you had an issue with me, and instead of like coming to me and just like, you just choose to talk shit about me and just blah 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 blah, learn this, learn that, and I'm just like, whoa, like, can we fix it? Please talk to me. Please talk to me. I think that triggers me a lot because like just back in like my like life before, it's like.
You mean like your high school self? Okay.
My high school self, I was like, it felt like nobody was. It's like that's like another thing where it's like there's like nobody on my side, where it's like I feel like if someone's taking just like the person's side and not willing enough to hear my story, that also kind of like triggers me to just leave, because that's like what I do in my life, is just I leave if something's not like good, and it's very unhealthy, but that's just my mental health. That's like me, and it's like I want to be able to talk things out, and I understand that people are not good with communication, but if you were to work your way up to communication and then we could work something out, then that's fine. But if we have a conversation, but now it's like a little bit weird, or just like you're not taking that effort to be close to me, or like if I'm not even taking that effort to be close to you, I think that's where we have to break it off. And I'm scared to break things off. It's a very like scary thing, and like the follow-up question is like, what does that look like? It's already been explained. Yeah. It's just, I feel like, I don't know, just like my triggers are just little weirdos every day.
Yes, anything can trigger a bad emotion.
Yeah, and it's a very like normal thing. Like, it's not to be taken like it's just like, I do want to continue on the trigger option, because like I never realized how much I run away when a situation happens because of like that fear of, oh, they already talked bad about my name, they don't like me anymore, so I'm just gonna leave. And I feel like it happens all the time, and like it probably comes to a point where it's like I'm the issue for leaving, which is like why I'm trying not to just be as just my guard up. I'm just still trying to eat something. Dude, I'm ready to clock out. I'm ready to clock out.
I don't blame you.
Damn, I lost a lot of people.
Me too. And even in college, I've lost a lot of people, and it's not because I did anything bad. Sometimes you just drift as well, and that's okay. Not everyone's meant for you. Sometimes people are just meant as a lesson.
Come on, why can't no one stay?
It's okay. Not everyone can stay in your life.
What has helped you the most when dealing with your mental health?
Therapy.
Get therapy, guys.
Yeah, free therapy. Definitely therapy. And even that didn't take me as far as I wanted it to. Like, I only went so I could talk to somebody that wasn't in my immediate circle, wasn't in my family, that can just give me an outside perspective and just listen to me talk.
Yeah.
I didn't go over there looking for help. Yeah, she did help me, and I love her. But at the same time, it got to a point where I was teaching myself about how I work, and I was teaching her things about myself. I would come up and like, yeah, so I learned that I actually am experiencing this, and she's like, huh? What is that? So yes, it's definitely therapy and myself. I can thank myself for so much because I've put so much time and so much research, so much effort into understanding who Crysti is, you know, who Crysti is, and what makes me tick, what makes me upset, what makes me happy, not to say it, just who I am. You know, I just keep saying that, but it's just who I am, my identity.
Writing helps me a lot, as well as singing. I'm a big singer. I don't know how to sing, but I'm a big singer. Being able to just kind of stream those emotions out when singing, and even just writing it out, where it's just like you're writing everything down. And I kind of formatted it to be like sometimes like a poem, or just writing it like a person, like I'm talking to a person, but also just being able to talk about it helps me like the most, because like I mean, like, yeah, I would need like therapy. Like I have my counselor, and she's probably the best thing ever, but she has her life, and I wouldn't want to always constantly go to her because she's not my therapist. So it's like I want to find a therapist, but I feel like overall, like I'm able to just have a breakdown, write about it, do practice like affirmation, meditation, and just clear myself out over the times. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine until the next challenge comes into my life. And so it's just like,
makes sense.
Yeah, it just kind of helps. Doing what I need to do.
I mean, I also told you about writing, which is funny. I was like, make sure you just write down everything you feel. Write,
trying to take credit.
Okay. Okay. I've been writing out my feelings for so long.
Yeah.
And no, I don't. I only write things when I'm upset or something happens. Like, yeah.
But when do you feel most vulnerable?
When I cry.
That's my answer.
Yeah, when I cry, just because, like I said, my dad always made me feel like that was a very vulnerable state, and nobody should see me like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I tried really hard not to cry. I don't want to cry. I know it's good for you, and I know that you should cry, but I try my day hardest not to. And it makes me feel so weak and so small when somebody sees me in that state. Like they can even just be my boyfriends. Like I don't want to see me like that. I don't want him to see me a mess, crying. Even if it's over him.
Yeah. Honestly, that is when I cry, I feel the most like vulnerable, because it's like I always take my crying as just like a type of gift, because not a lot of people can like do that. But it also is it's a curse, because back in like my past, it's what is Lorena crying about today? And it's like, I don't know, something happened to me, and I felt the need to cry. Like even a math problem could make me cry.
Really?
Like it was like really bad back in like my freshman year of high school, because like math would make me cry. The fact that I wasn't able to be put in a smaller room with people like made me cry, because my IEP messed me up. People who have IEP, you know, I was bullied a lot for having IEP because I was the slow kid. So it was just like every time I do work, I feel like I'm slow, so I cry about it. I can't read something, I'll cry about it. Like I drop something, I cry. I fall, I cry. Like it was like a really big issue, to the point where it's like I had to stop crying. I had to stop showing emotion. If I showed emotion, this person would leave me. And it's always hiding myself, because like even like nowadays, like when I do cry, I make sure it's by myself sometimes. And if I cry in front of a person, I'm so sorry. Like that's like how I feel, where it's like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cry. Like it was coming out, like it was just that emotion, and it's very like vulnerable for me, because it's like I think I remember yesterday when like I was just, all I was doing was in the library and I was trying to do my work, but there were like, people around me. So I mean I can't cry. There's people around me. So I put my head down and I go, it's okay, it's okay.
You're soothing yourself.
Yeah, I was soothing myself, and I like was like tearing up, just having like that, and then being like, let's get back to work. Like I'm like, I'm still a big crier, and it makes me feel so vulnerable. And even in front of like these new people, where it's like I feel like I can't cry in front of you guys. Like if they don't know how to react to me crying, why do I want to like cry in front of them?
Yeah, why do you want to?
I wouldn't want to put someone in an awkward situation, basically. Do you feel like where you are now, or just the journey you are taking, is a good place?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I believe that the journey I've gone through has been very hard, mentally, and it's shaped me into the person I am now. So I genuinely can't complain about what I've gone through, because I am who I am because of those things. And I think right now I am in a good place. You know, I have one more year of college, and I just need to make sure that I'm on track, and I'm just making sure that I'm going into what I want to go into. I need to be the future person I see myself as.
Yeah. Same. I feel like I am like in a good spot, just like mentally, because I am being more aware than like how I used to be with myself, and just like allowing people to come to me with like certain issues where it's like, oh, here's what I think about like you, and I'm like, okay, I'll hear you out, and if it's wrong, then you're wrong. I know myself. But if it's something like, oh, I didn't know that, I'll make sure I fix myself about that, or not even fix, but like I'll make sure my behavior is like different towards you next time. And I think a lot of times, like this semester really has been just that journey of awareness, and that like who I need to surround myself with, and like what energy am I looking for.
I had that experience much long ago.
I'm a little slow progress.
It's okay.
Slow in the head.
It's alright. Aren't we all?
But yeah, I like where I'm going right now, and even if like I have like a block at the moment, I'm still learning something. I'm still doing something that is making me happy, which is like focusing on myself nowadays, and just making sure I am communicating. I am really liking where I'm going with myself, despite what has been happening to me. Just making me become more of like a stronger person because of what I'm going through. And despite it all, I am a good person. I don't need to prove that. I literally, even people that I have not talked to for months are just like, why are you going through this? You're such a good person. And I'm like, I am. People are making me feel like I'm not. Thank you for that reassurance. Because it's like, when I realize something that I'm doing is seen as wrong in the eyes of another, I'm just like, it doesn't get me like, obviously gets me sad, because it's like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't mean to put this harm on you. Like, I don't do anything intentionally unless I dislike you. But if I don't dislike you, then you're fine. Watch out. No, but it makes me, it's like I'm very like surprised, where it's like, oh, you're doing this. I'm like, oh, like I am doing this? Thank you for telling me this. Now, like, what are ways that I could change this behavior? What are ways can I make you comfortable? And it's just like, I'm not here to start issues. I'm here to just work it out. But
that's not what's
it's like, that's what it's like. It's awareness. It's a journey. Like, this is where I'm going at life, and we'll see what the end of the semester brings me.
You got 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
See you
Please end faster.